Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. We have Aryna Sabalenka versus Jessica Pegula in the Miami Open 2025 final. I cannot wait to get into this one. We've got two players who are so good on hard courts. I think the hard court queen herself, Aryna Sabalenka, and then someone who I think can probably be called a hard court queen as well, Jessica Pegula. Two players very comfortable on the surface, and they've actually played two finals in 2024 on hard court as well. Two big finals. They'll be playing one yet again in Miami this year. There's a lot to dive into. Before we do that, remember that like button, do subscribe if you're new, and do leave a rating or review if you're listening on a podcast platform. Also hit that notification bell if you haven't done so already. Okay, so for Aryna Sabalenka, she's been looking very solid. I think is probably the right word for it. Very solid. I think it was a good performance against Paolini, one of the best from the tournament so far. Played very well against Collins as well, in fairness. And I think serving-wise, she looked quite good against Paolini and against Collins especially. So some good wins there. Beat Tomova, Roos, Collins, Zhang Qinwen, and Paolini. Hasn't dropped a single set yet, so she's been very clinical. For Pegula, she's had on paper, it's been an easier route, but some very good informed players have been in her way. Beat Pera, Kanskaya, and Kostyuk. And then Raducanu and Yalo have been so good, of course, in this tournament. Just hit a purple patch, and Raducanu, she had to beat her in 3 sets. And then Yalo beat her in 3 sets as well. That was a fantastic match. And the Filipino 19-year-old wild card. I mean, that run we have to discuss, I think, post-Miami Open. But for now, we'll focus on JPEG. And look, Pegula is... And I think... I'm also guilty of doing this at times. I think underestimating how good a player she is. She's one of the most consistent players on tour in terms of making quarters and semi-finals and now finals, of course, of a lot of these tournaments. And she's won a Masters 1000 in the past, and we know that she's looking to win a slam. At 31 years of age, can she do it? I think that remains to be seen. But the good thing on the WTA Tour is that it's best of 3. Everything's best of 3, so it all translates. It's all relatable. You don't have what you have on the men's side where you can win a Masters 1000 tournament, it's best of 3, but then actually go into a slam and it's best of 5, and the dynamic is different, I have to say. So, look, I mean, Pegula, for me, has looked very good. I think she's been hitting the ball extremely cleanly. Serve's been good, returning good. Movement has been up there as well. I thought she's moved really well throughout the whole tournament. I've liked a bit of variety on her side, and she just looks very confident and likes playing in Miami. It's her hometown. It's a big opportunity for her to have a lot of the crowd on her side against Sabalenka, who she has a lot of fans herself, but I think given that Pegula is the quote-unquote home favourite in this case, I think she's going to have the lion's share of the support. And I think she'll lean into that and should lean into it. For Sabalenka, she will have some confidence going into this. The head-to-head is 6-2 in favour of the Belarusian, and the world number 1. But actually on hard court, specifically, it's 3-2. So 3 of those wins for Sabalenka have been on clay. In saying that, though, the last 2 matches they played, which were the US Open final and the Cincinnati final last year, Sabalenka beat Pegula in straight sets in both. Now, the US Open final was 7-5, 7-5. Pegula should have taken that second set, if memory serves me correctly. She was, I think, potentially a break-up. And didn't manage to convert, or she was at least sticking with Sabalenka, and Sabalenka broke late in both those sets. I think Pegula was disappointed, but she was playing some phenomenal tennis throughout that tournament and also in that final, but Sabalenka was just too strong. In Cincinnati, it was more straightforward, I think, for Sabalenka. And one thing Pegula did really well was actually being able to match Sabalenka's hitting ability from the back of the court. And she was able to rush Sabalenka, and actually her pace absorption was really impressive to me. Not a lot of players on tour can absorb the type of power that ends up coming from Sabalenka's side of the court. Pegula was able to do that and redirect well, made Sabalenka feel very uncomfortable at times. But in the end, of course, it just wasn't enough. Before that, the last time I played was in 2023 in the WTA finals, and Pegula did win that one. And the last time she beat Sabalenka before that was in Cincinnati in 2020. So that was a while ago, a 3-set win there. So Sabalenka, I think, will be pretty confident going into this one and know that if she plays... I think if she plays a very solid game and plays an 8 out of 10 in terms of her own ability, I think she beats Pegula unless Pegula is going to absolutely redline. If Pegula redlines, she can win this, no doubt. I mean, if she plays 9.5 out of 10, for example, then she can win, no doubt. And if Sabalenka is only playing a 7 and Pegula is playing an 8 or 9, then she'll probably win. So 8.5 and a 9, I think, yeah, then she'll win as well. I just think Sabalenka's ceiling's higher. I think we know that in terms of the gear she's able to get through. But Pegula is a tough competitor, and she'll fight and she'll scrap when she needs to as well. So she's going to have to enact a very specific game plan here as well, because level is not always an indicator of who's going to win necessarily, even at the top level. So the courts are supposed to be quicker than Cincinnati and the US Open on the CPI index. So Pegula's going to have to lean into that and play as she has been playing, very aggressively, taking them all early, trying to be aggressive on the second serve returns. She's been serving well, hitting her spots, and then being very proactive, I think, with the forehand as well. The backhand holds up quite nicely, and she's going to have to be aware of the Sabalenka backhand line, which I think is such a killer at times for a lot of players. She just hits it so clean and so flat and penetrating through the court. It's a difficult one to pick up on, and she changes direction very seamlessly. It's a tough one to call in terms of being able to understand and see whether Pegula is going to be able to get the win. She can get the win, but I think she'll need a little bit of assistance from Sabalenka in terms of errors from her side of the court, which, is definitely possible. However, I think Sabalenka, since that 2023 Australian Open win, has matured a great deal. I know she has lost some finals this year, but they've been very close finals against players who have redlined. In Andreeva, Keys, for example. If Pegula redlines, she could definitely lose again. But I don't see Pegula. I feel like Andreeva and Keys, in terms of the level, the ceiling they've got, I think is higher than Pegula, in my opinion. That's not to say that they are better players than Pegula. I'm just talking about pure skill level, pure potential. Kind of the level that they're able to hit. So I'm going to go with Sabalenka in straight sets. I actually think that the courts will suit Pegula a little bit more than the US Open in Cincinnati, but I have a feeling Sabalenka is going to be so hungry to get this one. I mean, she would have been disappointed with the previous finals, I think it's fair to say, and she will be looking to... she'll be looking to get over the line here, and she'll do whatever it takes. She's such a great competitor, as Pegula. I just think Sabalenka is going to have a little bit too much for her. Let me know in the comments section below what you guys think and why. Are you going for Sabalenka or Pegula? And also, maybe you think the home favourite, Pegula, will win and she'll really tap into that crowd, which could be a big factor as well. Let's see. See you guys very, very soon.